Banh Mi. Crispy, airy bread filled with layers of savory pork, pickled vegetables, fresh herbs, and a touch of heat. Banh Mi is Vietnam's most iconic and satisfying sandwich. In Vietnamese, banh mi simply means bread, but it's also the name of this incredibly flavorful sandwich, reflecting Vietnam's French culinary influence. Don't be intimidated by the number of components. Each one is simple to prepare, and many, including the pickled vegetables, the Siracha Mayo, and even the pork, can be made in advance. Once everything is ready, the final sandwich comes together quickly. We'll prepare each component of the sandwich, starting with the ones that can be made furthest ahead. Let's get cooking. To make Sriracha Mayo up to 2 weeks ahead, you will need a half cup of mayonnaise and 1/4 to a half cup of sriracha to taste. In a small bowl, whisk together mayonnaise and sriracha until it has the heat level that you like. Start with about 1/4 cup of sriracha, then taste and add more as desired. Cover and refrigerate up to 2 weeks. To make pickled carrot and daikon up to 5 days ahead, you will need a half cup distilled white vinegar, a half cup of sugar, 1/4 teaspoon salt, 3 carrots, and 1 medium daikon, which is white Japanese radish. The special equipment you will need are a food processor with grating disc or box grater for grating the carrot and daikon, and 1 or 2 tall containers with a lid to hold a total of about 5 cups grated vegetables. I use 2 1-quart deli containers in this video. Pour vinegar into a small saucepan and heat until simmering. Add the sugar and salt and stir until dissolved. Once sugar is dissolved, set aside to cool. Peel the carrots. If using the food processor to grate, cut off the ends. If grating by hand, you can leave the stem end on to give you something to hold on to. Now peel the daikon. As with the carrot, cut off either end of the daikon if using the food processor. You can leave them on if grating by hand. Cut in half to make it more manageable. If using the food processor, you will also need to cut the daikon vertically into pieces that will fit into the feed tube. Set the food processor up with the grating disc. Push all pieces of carrot and daikon one at a time through the feed tube. If not using a food processor, then hand grate the carrot and daikon on a box grater. You should end up with about 5 cups of grated carrot and daikon. Place into a tall container or 2 that have lids. I'm using 2 1-quart deli containers here. Pour the cooled pickling liquid over the top of the grated carrot and daikon. If using 2 containers, divide evenly between the 2. Put the lids on and then turn the containers so the liquid gets evenly distributed. Store in the refrigerator for up to 5 days, turning the containers once or twice a day. The pork must be marinated from at least 5 hours to as long as overnight. It may be cooked and refrigerated 1 day ahead. You will need 1.5 to 2 pound pork tenderloin, 1/3 cup fish sauce, 1/4 cup maple syrup, make sure it's the real thing, 2 tablespoons brown sugar, a 1/4 cup soy sauce, 1 teaspoon sesame oil, 4 garlic cloves, 1 2-inch piece of fresh ginger, and some vegetable oil for cooking the pork. The special equipment you will need are a microplane grater for the ginger, a glass or ceramic dish for marinating, and a cast iron skillet or an enameled cast iron pot for cooking. Before you start the marinade, cover pork and place in the freezer for 15 to 20 minutes. This will make it much easier to slice. Combine the marinade ingredients: the fish sauce, the maple syrup, the soy sauce, the brown sugar, and the sesame oil. Peel and finely mince the garlic cloves. Add minced garlic to the marinade. Cut off the end and any knobs off the side of the ginger. Use a thin spoon to scrape off the skin about halfway up the piece. Hold the microplane grater blade side down and scrape it across the peeled end of the ginger. The grated ginger will collect up in the channel. Once you have about 2 teaspoons, scrape it into the marinade. Remove pork from its 15 to 20 minute stay in the freezer. Cut into 1/4 inch thick slices. Give the marinade a stir and add the pork. Combine until all the pork is covered in the marinade. Cover and refrigerate for at least 5 hours and up to overnight. Take pork out of refrigerator about 30 minutes before cooking. Heat pan over medium-high heat. Layer a sheet pan with paper towels and have it nearby. When pan is hot, add enough vegetable oil to cover the bottom of the pan about 1/4 inch deep. When the oil is rippling, start adding the pork 1 slice at a time, lifting them out of the marinade with tongs. Do not crowd the pan. You will need to cook the pork in 2 or 3 batches. After about 1 minute, turn the slices over. After about 1 more minute, remove the slices to the paper towel lined sheet pan to drain. Repeat until all slices are cooked. Blot the tops with paper towels. Cover and refrigerate the pork until ready to use. For the vegetable toppings that you can prep up to 1 day ahead, cover and refrigerate, you will need 2 Persian cucumbers, 1/2 a red onion, 2 jalapeno chilies, and 1 bunch fresh cilantro. Leaving the peels on the cucumbers, cut off the ends. Slice lengthwise into single long slices. If your cucumber has a curve in it, holding it curved side up will allow you to keep the slices even. Remove the stem from the jalapenos and cut into thin slices. Place the slices into a small bowl. Break off sprigs of cilantro, enough for approximately 2 to 3 for every sandwich. Cut off the end of the onion and then cut in half through the root. Reserve one half for another use. Peel the remaining half. Place onion flat side down and cut into thin slices. Place into a strainer and rinse in cold water. The rinsing removes the harshness from the onions that will be used raw on the sandwiches. Set aside to drain. For the bread, which you will prep at the last minute, you will need 4 to 6 6-inch long French bread style unsplit sandwich rolls, or you can get a loaf of medium thick French bread and slice it into 6-inch lengths. Avoid sourdough, which can overpower the flavor balance of the fillings. And even though you will sometimes see banh mi served on baguettes, I don't recommend, as this size can be difficult to work with and fit in all the fillings. Turn each roll on its side and use a serrated knife to slice the bread lengthwise. You want the bottom half to be slightly thicker than the top. Pull some of the soft centers out of the bottom halves of the rolls to form an indentation to hold ingredients. Place tops and bottoms of the rolls cut side up on a sheet pan and put them under the broiler until lightly toasted. Now that all of our components are ready, lay them out to begin our Banh Mi assembly. Include some soy sauce and a pepper grinder as a finishing touch. Start by spreading Siracha mayonnaise on the bottom half of the roll. Next, lay in a couple cucumber slices. Now comes the pork. Be generous, this is the main ingredient. Use tongs to place a pile of the pickled carrot and daikon so you don't transfer too much liquid. Next, add the red onions, the cilantro, and the jalapenos to top. Grind some fresh black pepper over the top, and if you like, you can put a few little splashes of soy sauce. Cut sandwiches in half and serve. Thank you so much for joining Food Immerse and exploring different cuisines, ingredients, and cooking techniques. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe so you don't miss a single delicious episode. If you make this dish, I would love to hear about it in the comments or shoot me an email. Until next time, cheers to good food.